Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Swinging at Shins, a Premier League podcast. I am Brett Conway, and I am joined always by Aaron Slater. Aaron, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. Went grocery shopping, so
There you
that's
go.
fun.
It's a lot better than what I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
dentals are not
it's
cheap.
nothing like pulling teeth.
Yeah. Oh, God in heaven. Everyone in my family needs to stop costing me a ton of money at the doctors. Anyway, this is a Premier League podcast, not a podcast where we complain about everything for the first 15 minutes like every other podcast out there. And I see in notes that you want to start with a table reminder. Let me tell you, I love table reminders right now.
It's a good
After
start.
17 matches played by about half the league and 18 by the rest, Arsenal on top with 44 points.
Hmm.
Man City closed the gap a little bit, 39. But, I mean, Arsenal had those two extra points for about 3 days. I didn't even get used to it.
It felt good, right? No.
Newcastle at 35. Man City and Arsenal both have a game in hand over
Yep.
Newcastle. Also on 35, also with a game in hand, Manchester United. We're going to get into it a little bit later. Manchester United is starting to act like a well-run club again, and I do not like it.
It's scary.
Um, Behind them at 33, having played one extra game, Spurs. And then another 5-point jump all the way down to Liverpool in 6.
Yep.
Every time I see where Liverpool is, it's surprising.
They almost have, 3 more losses, and they would have an 8-8, 8 wins, 8 loss
8-8-8.
record, which is wild. It's unheard of.
It is. It
For
is
the
wild
standards of Liverpool.
for a Klopp team. At least the
For
Klopp team he's had, although maybe not for 7 years. 7-year curse.
that,
On equal points, but having played an extra game, Fulham of all teams, Fulham.
I can't remember who said it was like right in the beginning of the season, and it was some announcer. They were like, "Yeah, this is a different Fulham team. This team is well built to stay up this year and years to come." I go, "Nah, no, they're not. They're gonna go right back down." Look at me, eat my own words.
I was gonna say no bias there.
Well,
Um,
I'm slowly getting over it. The whole
I'm gonna. Go ahead.
Mitrovic. I like Mitrovic.
Who doesn't like Mitrovic?
People who
Mitrovic
kick
scored the cheesiest goal against Arsenal, and I thought we were heading for our first loss of the season at the time.
Yeah.
And I still liked him. I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's what he do.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. Wow, have Everton screwed up. Having Marco Silva, and you say bye-bye,
Mm-hmm.
and then he comes back with this Fulham team. Now, maybe he learned a lot. He was not performing well at Everton. But I think it's safe to say with where Fulham is on the table, it was not Marco Silva's fault.
I don't think so. I think that, God, where am I going? Anyway, I just started this conversation. Everton suck. They messed up.
We're going to get to them, but we have a little ways to go before we get all the way down there.
Yeah, we do.
Brighton and Hove Albion in 8th, Brentford in 9th. I'm pretty sure Brighton and Hove Albion was 2 places ahead of Chelsea when Potter took over.
Yes.
And now Brighton and Hove Albion are 2 places ahead of Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
So the more things change, the more they stay the same, I guess.
Also, nothing has been heard about from Ivan Toney. He was supposed to say something, have a statement out. I can't find anything about the gambling.
It's either going to be nothing or like he'll never play again.
There was no statement said. I was on The Athletic looking for something. Maybe somebody said something, picked up on anything.
Hearing was supposed to be the 4th, but we don't necessarily get to know what happened in the hearing.
Was it a hearing, or he had to have a statement out the 4th?
I thought it was a hearing.
I definitely
know with the FA.
He had to say something by the 4th.
I don't think
not had to say something. He has the.
He had to respond to the FA.
Yes.
That doesn't mean we get to know anything.
Well, shit, I want to know.
I want to know too, but if anything, if this Ivan Toney thing has proven anything, it's how differently they react to like betting and gambling scandals than we do.
Yeah. I mean, look at Calvin Ridley. He's
look at
suspended
Kieran Trippier.
indefinitely until the NFL says.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, we don't need to talk about the NFL. We can go on for hours about how backwards that is. Possibly know about deflated footballs. That's 4 games. Punch your wife in the face. That's 2. Anyway, Aston Villa all the way up to 11th. The Unai Emery effect.
Hey now.
Crystal Palace somehow 12th. I expect not a free fall, but I expect them to fall.
I don't. I think there's still good quality. Michael Elise.
There is good quality. There's good quality at Leeds. There's good quality at West Ham. But look at what they're doing.
I think that Patrick Vieira is a better coach than Jesse Marsh. And I don't want to go as far as...
I'm going to remind you that this is an American podcast.
Yep.
Okay. Listen, I know Patrick Vieira is a fantastic soccer player. I love the man, obviously. I don't know. Again, it's like the whole Chelsea issue. Chelsea has a bunch of people who have won trophies. Chelsea has Graham Potter, who proved for years that he's a great manager. Why isn't it working? Palace, it was a 4-0 loss last time out.
Yeah.
To a Spurs team that was not playing well at all. And then they lost 2-1 to Southampton in the FA Cup. But I think Southampton's proving after the match that just happened that they show up for cup games. Who cares about the league? We show up for cup games.
Look, they get money no matter what. They got money. They're getting more money through the.
You get more money to stay up in the Prem. I think they have their. It's backwards.
Yes, their logic's backwards, not mine.
Well, I don't know. You can't always choose when you show up. Anyway, moving on. Leicester City up in 13th, Leeds 14th, Nottingham Forest out of the relegation zone by 2 points in 15th, Bournemouth out of the relegation zone by 1 point in 16th, West Ham out of the relegation zone by goal difference.
By one goal difference.
Everton 18th, Wolves 19th, Southampton 20th. I still think Wolves is climbing out of there. I still think West Ham is probably the most likely to go down. But we'll probably touch on that at the end of the show. For right now, the beginning of the show, I know this says Premier League. We're going to talk FA Cup because that's what happened. What were your biggest surprises?
I got to go with what I said in the beginning, and it's West Ham actually beating Brentford. Just because of how bad. Yes, there are bigger ones. I know we'll get to it, Jesus. But West Ham have been playing brutal, and Brentford have been, they're more top of the table than where West Ham sit. So that one, I'm thinking, my thought process is maybe this win will boost West Ham. Be like, hey, we know how to play soccer now. That's my thought.
It could be the jump that they need. Brentford, while they are playing well, they had no Tony. They had no Baptiste. I don't know. I'm looking at this. I did not have a chance to watch the game. I did not have a chance to watch highlights.
Oh, God.
However,
watch those games anyway. ESPN Plus.
Yeah, ESPN Plus, which only you have to restart 5 times, which is super great when you're trying to stream it in a bar and they keep resetting it. She has to keep leaving the bar to restart it. But anyway, Ben Rama scored on a goal that had a expected goal of 0.04.
I think I watched that one. That one was.
I think this game probably should have been going to a replay if all things were fair. So it's surprising that they won, and I'll give that to you. I don't know. I don't know if that's as big of a win. Sometimes all you need is that win to get some confidence. Sometimes all you need is that punch, and it could happen. I do not think David Moyes is a fantastic manager. I do think he's a good one.
Yeah.
He's had some big jobs. He hasn't been able to keep the big jobs.
Do you think he's all
I don't know.
there?
He's not a relegation manager.
That's what I'm saying. Like, do you think he's all there? Do you think he needs
I
to
have
retire? He's like, isn't he in his 70s at this point? I'm not saying that's a cutoff. I'm just saying, like, the older you get, sometimes your synapses don't. I'm not here to bash older people, but that's just the way nature works.
Well, we were talking about it. I don't know if that's true. And I say that as someone who watched Arsene Wenger slowly have a team that
Okay.
got a little bit worse and a little bit worse and a little bit worse.
It's okay.
However,
Okay.
I don't know if that's necessarily fair because if you look at the teams that we were getting to the Champions League with, what a freaking miracle! And like Kieran Gibbs was the starting left back. How were we a top 4 team back then? And secondly, who knows what West Ham's actual financial situation is like?
That's true. I mean, considering they just built a big ass stadium.
Well, they didn't build it. The city of London did, and they get to lease it.
That's even worse.
They're not going through the same thing that Arsenal went through where they decided to pay off the Emirates themselves. That's a City of London stadium.
That's awful.
Now, I don't know how much they spend on bubbles, but as a father of a 2-year-old, bubbles are cheap, so it can't be that. I don't know if the game's passed him by. He's only 59.
Really? God, he looks like 103.
He's been coaching forever. He does not look 100.
Okay, 72.
He does not look 70. Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to get into this fight. You look like... Never mind. Moving on.
Yes.
We talked about this before we got on, and I think now's as good a time as I need to bring it up. I don't know if it's the service Skamaka's getting or if Skamaka's just been a miss. But I think that's one of their big problems. They brought this guy in. They thought he was going to be exactly what they needed. They've had a guy kind of like that before, whether it be a Payet, whether it be who's the other guy that just fell out of my head? But they've had that one top guy before, and it's been enough to carry them, and Skamaka right now is just missing. And I think that's part of the problem.
Well, I think also they're just not scoring goals either. Mikel Antonio has, he's been a good goal scorer, and he hasn't been doing that either. Nobody's scoring goals for this team.
Hard to win without scoring goals.
Typically.
Especially with, Fabianski's 37 now. So he is probably losing a step.
I would bet. Well, Gigi Buffon I'm shifting to Serie A at this moment, playing 45, and he's still saving.
Yeah, and Tom Brady's 43, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the league doesn't normally retire at 37.
That's true.
I don't know. I've not been impressed with Souček. I don't know. Antonio's 32. I see right now West Ham reminds me a lot of Palace, where you have Declan Rice like Palace has Wilfred Zaha.
Yeah.
And there's good people around him, but they're not letting go of him because, damn it, he keeps us up. He keeps us, and it's to the point where, again, the rumors start flying and Zaha's not leaving Palace, and I doubt Declan Rice is going to leave. They'd have to get an exorbitant amount for Declan Rice, because if he leaves, they're kind of guaranteeing themselves relegation.
I bet you 60 to 80 in that ballpark.
Well, the director from Shakhtar would like to have a talk with you and how small-minded you are.
Well, the director from Shakhtar is missing up a big opportunity to make a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true. And also, Declan Rice is English and in the Prem, so you have to add the English tax and the Prem tax.
God's
It's going to be a lot higher than 60. They want to be in the Premier League soon, so we might as well talk about them now. And by soon, it would be 5 years at the minimum. Wrexham, non-league team, still in it, on to the 4th round.
Yep.
Good for them.
Yeah, for real.
It's that Hollywood magic. That's what it is.
Of course. Ryan Reynolds sprinkled some of the dust on there.
I don't know if you've watched Welcome to Wrexham, but it's a good watch.
Yes.
You gotta like that humor. If you don't like their humor, you're not gonna have a good time.
No.
But they get into it. They have one episode that's just about like the hooligans and the ultras,
Yes.
which I thought was very good.
Yep, that was
It's
good.
not just. There are times when it's the Rob and Ryan show, but there's several times when it's not.
Yep.
So I enjoyed that. Newcastle lost to Sheffield Wednesday.
Yep.
I'm not happy about that at all. Newcastle desperately needs another tournament to be in to distract themselves from the Premier League. I wanted them to make a deep run, baby.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Yeah, but no, they're bowing out to Sheffield Wednesday. Yep. And I'm sure you're going to touch on this in the Villa, but Stevenage getting one over.
Yep.
League Two. I thought they were League One. League Two.
League Two, they're in second place.
You know what? Villa doesn't need another tournament to think about. So
that's true, but it doesn't.
As embarrassing as that is, and as awful as Villa's run of form has been since they met Arsenal in the FA Cup in 2014.
Yes.
Yeah.
14-15 season.
Whatever. It was bad. I'm sorry. I mean, haven't gotten past the fourth round, and I've only made it to the fourth round. I haven't gotten past the third round.
Third round.
Not once. But wow.
6 years.
For listeners who are not maybe up and up on how this works, the FA Cup is a Football Association Cup. It is a tournament-style knockout that happens. Sorry, I should have said knockout-style tournament that happens concurrently with the domestic leagues. We do not have playoffs in soccer. Well, we have playoffs in soccer. We don't have playoffs in football. This is what fills that little tournament itch because everyone loves tournaments. The Premier League teams, and of course, this is fair because for a decent amount of that time, you guys weren't Premier League teams. But the Premier League teams don't even enter the tournament until round 3 anyway. So for Villa to not be getting past the third round means they've lost their opening match a couple times.
Yep.
Arsenal did not. We learned from last year. See, the thing is, last year when we did our no more red jerseys and they were all white, you couldn't see anything and we lost. This time we had black outlines around the words and the badge, and then we won. So that's it. We were missing the black outlines. Anyway, for more on the Arsenal, Way West End will be dropping at pretty much the same time this drops. So look for that. I'm just gonna jump right into it because we gotta talk about it. I'm saying jumping right into it. We're 18 minutes in.
Hop it.
What in God's name is happening with Chelsea?
Meltdown.
First of all, right now, I'm just going to open with this. If you were a Chelsea fan and like turn around 3 times and spit and praise God you're not, but if you were a Chelsea fan, how would you feel about your team right now?
Very sad. I'd have a very sad season. This isn't what I expected. We fired Tuchel for some reason. Okay. And then we go against Graham Potter, who's one of the top coaches, or so we think. And then we tank. We're tanking. I mean, we're not actually tanking in the sense that we're trying to get better picks, but we're definitely underperforming where our players are dropping like flies. And the fact that they're in 10th, it's really a stake to the heart.
I'd argue that they're in 10th right now because of how poor the bottom half of the Prem is. For our non-American viewers who don't know, tanking is when you purposefully lose to try to get a better draft pick. Because we don't have academies, players work their way up through high school, sometimes college, depending on the sport, and then you have a first-year player draft. Player cannot enter the league unless he goes through the draft. Sometimes players go undrafted and then they enter the league, via free agency, but that very rarely happens. The worst teams get the better draft picks. So if you know you're not going to be competitive for a couple of years, you could just choose to be bad, get several good draft picks, and build yourself back up. We hate it. It's one of the reasons why I wish we had relegation, because relegation makes it so you can't choose to lose. Nothing gets, you have no improvement. Everything gets worse. So Yeah, I don't know if Chelsea's tanking, but there are times when I think they're in free fall. And when you see how well they did after Graham Potter started to where they were now, because there were times like Chelsea had lost like 7 or 9 matches in a row. And everyone's talking about how good Potter is. That was just new manager bounce, baby.
Yeah, apparently.
If you take out that new manager bounce, how bad is this team?
Not good. not good at all. What are we looking at right here? Their team form in their last 5, they've picked up a loss. They against Villa. They beat Bournemouth, who they should win. They drew to Nottingham. They lost to Man City 1-0, which I thought that was actually a good game, air quotes. City didn't score 4 like they did the next game in the FA Cup. 3 in the first half.
It could be, from the bench.
Yes.
Milan did not play in that 4-0 drubbing. You know what? That 1-0 probably in a vacuum was probably a good match for Chelsea. Yeah. But when you follow it up by just getting slapped by what is essentially Man City's B team.
Oh, they got their buns slapped.
I don't really care. I don't actually see it as that good. And for what it's worth, you lost anyway. You lost again.
Yeah.
And if you lose by 1 or you lose by 4, it's still a loss.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I don't know if anything different's going to happen when anyone plays Man City.
True.
But now the reason I asked how you feel, because obviously we talk about form and it's awful. But Abramovich gets forced out.
Yep.
Who, I mean, he was a golden goose and had been. And an American comes in, and you think, oh, my God, what an idiot. He thinks the 4-4-3 is a formation you can actually run. He wants a Super League. He doesn't understand why there's not playoffs. Let's add a all-star game. All these American things that's so easy for people to look at and say, oh, stupid American wants to change the game. 400 million pounds later, they doubled down on Fofanas. They have 2 now. First of all, financial fair play is a joke.
Yep.
If they can't stop this, what are we even doing? Then he goes off and just completely pisses off Benfica to the point where the Benfica director said, we do not want to do business with Boli ever again. Which is a bad thing because Benfica is where a lot of good talent comes from. Oh, and by the way, the guy that they were going for was Enzo Fernandez, who is just a stud, an absolutely amazing young player.
Yep.
I think what happened, and again, not in the room, and no one really knows, but the reports are they said, hey, want to give you a heads up, we're going to activate his release clause, which is like 120 million pounds.
Yep.
And then they went, actually, would you guys take, and then offered something less.
Well, that just sounds like bad business.
It does sound like bad business. I wonder if Boli got drunk, picked up the phone. I want Fernandez, pay whatever you want, and then sobered up and like 120 million. And now and I think this is bad, but they got João Felix, which is $11 million for a 6 month rental of João Felix.
So bad. It's bad business.
And he probably thinks he's going to be starting up front, but Christian Pulisic is out for months. Again.
Sadly.
He's made of glass.
Yep.
So he'll be filling in the wing.
Yep.
I don't know. Things just look horrible. They just look so bad for Chelsea right now.
They have 10 players injured right now. 10.
And there is that. We talked about that last time. We'll bring it up again. If they have Reece James and if they have N'Golo Kante, they're a very different team.
Yep.
Just
but they Kante in general. Oh my God.
Yeah. Kante changes. Kante changes everything. From that Leicester City Premier League triumph, everyone remembers Vardy and Mahrez, but they do not win that without him.
Kante's king.
So they play when this drops on the 12th, they play Fulham.
Yep.
And I like what you wrote here. Could Fulham pull an upset? Honestly, is it an upset?
No.
Right now, I don't know. It should be an upset. It's going to feel like an upset, but I don't know if it actually is.
As far as like history goes, and what Chelsea has done in the past versus what Fulham has done in the past, yes, this is an upset. But if we're looking at in this season in particular, if Chelsea wins, I think it's an upset against Fulham.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know about an upset, but I'll go with evenly matched. Right now, fair outcome, probably a draw.
Well, so even if Chelsea do win this match, they're still not going to be ahead of Fulham. They can only go to let's see. The best
7th.
they can do is 8th.
8th? Oh,
Yep.
all right. Sorry, you mistyped. That's not true. They win by 2, they can go to 7th. Technically, they can go to 6th, but they'd have to win by a lot.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, they'd be equal on points with Fulham, and
you're
then
right.
go
I'm
to.
sorry. That's why I said 7th. I think
if they win by 13, no, if they win by 12, they can go all the way to 6.
Doable.
Yeah, doable on FIFA maybe. So moving on, like you said, they go to 7th. Would you feel good about 7th? Would you think you're on the up and up then?
If I was a Chelsea fan and I'm sitting there with my blue jersey that says Pulisic on the back because I'm an honorable American, and how the way this season has been, I'm saying 7th is good.
I'd be happy to not lose to Fulham.
What's that?
Said I'd be happy to. At this point, I'd be happy to not lose to Fulham.
Yeah.
Coming back to it, we talked about this last time. Do you think that Graham Potter just does not know who his best 11 is?
I think he's just kind of forced to throw anybody out there right now. But let's say he has a full squad, everybody's healthy. I agree. I don't think he knows who to throw out there. I don't think
I think if he actually had a full squad, I think he'd know exactly who to throw out there.
I don't think.
But he's not had one since he's been there. I mean, you said full squad, so that's Conte, that's James, that's a bunch of those. I think Kepa's been fine in goal, right?
I still think
you look at the defender. I said fine. I would probably still start Mendy too. You look at the defenders. Chilwell out. Reece James out. Wesley Fofana out. Cucurella, who was very good for him at Brighton.
Yeah.
Not playing well at all.
Very much poo-poo.
And you can't blame the manager. He just played so well from him on a different team. Koulibaly can be good. But still, if we're talking like full team, I think he's fine. Between Chilwell and Fofana and Reece James and Cucurella and Azpilicueta, and haven't said his name yet, but Thiago Silva, who's still, as an ancient man who remembers when they discovered dirt, is playing fantastically.
They also picked up Bashieldy too. I mean went and bought.
Then you get to the midfield. You have Kovacic, Jorginho, again, full squad. Conte, Mount, Conor Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek. I'm skipping on some names, but that's more than a full midfield right there, and a very decent midfield at that. I think your only problem is, again, goal scoring, which hopefully for them, Felix is going to change. Abba is... Ben White has more touches in the opposition box than Abba does.
There was a thing I had read that if it was allowed, Barcelona would be interested in taking Abba back, but because I don't think you're allowed to transfer twice like that in a season. I'm not entirely sure of the details, but it's not allowed. FIFA doesn't allow it. But if he was released, he could go back to Barcelona. But this is a whole can of worms I didn't really research at that point.
Yeah, Barcelona doesn't like to pay for their players. I understand. We had to release Alba to get him off our books last year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Ziyech is a great player. Sterling can be very good. I do think part of the problem is Sterling and Pulisic both play the same way.
Yes, they do.
Where they drive in and then they hold up play.
Yeah.
And they have no fluidity.
No, it just stop dead.
That Fofana could help. Their new Fofana, David Fofana. Not Wesley Fofana, David Fofana. Fofana's just so fun to say.
It is. It just
he
rolls
can
off
help.
the tongue.
I do not. Kai Havertz is not a striker. Stop playing him there.
No,
I don't know. I don't know what else to say with that. Just stop playing him in the 9 role. He's not any good at it.
I would like to see him on the wing or as, an attacking midfielder.
But again, if he's on the wing, where does he play?
I think
where does he play? Who plays in the middle? Well, right now he's out. So Aubameyang, who also has an injury.
Yep.
So where does he like?
No, there's a lot of problems, and I think that's why you feel good if you beat Fulham and you move up into 7th, then you're gonna feel good as a Chelsea fan.
Yeah. All right. Upcoming matches. Back to the Prem. Villa Leeds at Villa Park.
Friday, opening up the match day. I think this game always is fast. It always has goals, and it's going to be a must-win for both of them. Thankfully, it's televised at 3 p.m. Eastern time. I think Villa's going to try to bounce back from that really bad FA Cup loss. I think Unai is going to slap their cheeks around and actually be like, hey, what are you doing, guys? Leeds have been performing better. They're not losing. So it could end up in a draw. I think this game's actually going to end up in a draw.
I would honestly be a little bit surprised if Villa draw Leeds.
This is
the type of match that Leeds lose. Bamford's out. Sinisterra's out. They never perform well against middle of the table teams, which right now that's what Villa is. Yui's got him on the up. I understand that Stevenage just knocked him out. However, there are plenty of times where Arsenal bowed out of horrible FA Cups, and went on to win leagues. So sometimes you rotate the squad just the wrong way and everything falls apart. I mean, you kind of saw it happen in the first half of the Oxford match. We didn't get scored on, but we did not look good either.
Yeah.
Especially at home, Villa should win this. As a Villa fan, I'd be disappointed if they don't win.
I'm nodding my head, yes.
You are recording after that match for the Villa?
Yes.
All right, so make sure you guys tune into that to get the reactions of what actually happens.
I may be drunk.
I don't know about May. Probably. You going to go to the beer garden for that?
No, I'm just going to come right back to the house.
I mean, all the Villa fans drinking alone no matter what.
Yeah, one of them. And maybe there was another guy out there too. I did meet one. You were there. You saw it happen.
It's happened one time. Anyway, moving on. Saturday. Set your alarm clocks bright and early. Don't know why they do it to us, but they did. Manchester Derby at 7:30. Public executions are supposed to be held at dawn, so I guess that makes sense.
Wait, do you really think it's going to be an execution?
No, I think it's going to be much better than it was the first time.
I think this is going to be a really fun matchup.
Um, Pep has a crazy plan to be Manchester United. Is it playing Kyle Walker at center back like they did today and lost?
Nope, shouldn't be.
I like your thing. He's going to start all under 23s except for Haaland.
I like it. It could work. No. I really think it was just a mind game thing. He's just messing with Ten Hag.
He's been in the press a lot lately. And he's talking about, hey, you got to give Potter time. And I got to wonder if he's like, keep Chelsea down, keep Chelsea down, keep Chelsea down. Just one of those, like, get into their heads. I have no idea. I think City should win this. This one's at
no, this
Old
is
Trafford.
United, Old Trafford.
Yeah, it's at Old Trafford. I still think City wins. However, I think it's going to be a much more competitive game. I said it earlier in the podcast. I do not like how Man United is becoming a better team. And they are.
I mean, they're definitely coming around. I think Anthony is a really good signing. I think Rashford, after picking up that brace in the World Cup, has been playing extremely well. Casemiro, who would have thought a 30-some-year-old defensive center midfielder would be there? You're right.
I'm raising my hand. I was pissed when they signed him.
Yeah, he's really.
And I remember a bunch of people told me, "What are you talking about? He's not going to be that good." And I was like, I am so mad that United can have all these problems and have horrible owners and have all of this and then just go buy Casemiro. Because Casemiro was going to solve a lot of the problems they had.
Yep.
I've been saying for years, their midfield of McFred is awful. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm not trying to take credit for that. But Casemiro is exactly what they need.
He's just so good. He's able to make runs. He's able to find runs. He's able to stop runs coming in. He's so smart.
I really think he's one of those veteran presence guys.
That's true.
He's one of those guys.
Locker room.
Yep. He's one of those guys who has always stepped up, always Ronaldo won all those trophies at Real Madrid. You know who else won all those trophies at Real Madrid?
The same guy.
And one of them has a ego and a complex, and one of them is scoring bangers for Man United right now. And it's not Ronaldo. He's exactly what they need. I mean, we talked about, I want to hear what your starting 11 is for the North London Derby. You said, what's your starting 11 for the Manchester Derby? I said, Man City, except for swapping Casemiro. That's not entire. I mean, I don't know. I think that there's a case to be made, and it's probably because I've always loved him, even when he was playing on that awful, awful team to the north. But I think there's a case to be made for Eriksen. I think Eriksen is a very good player. I think Rashford is the best performing player in United right now, but no one is getting in over Haaland. It's that simple.
He's a machine.
Their defense, United's defense, is a little bit of an issue. I'll take Kyle Walker at right back over almost anybody. I will take, especially over Dallin. Malacia is trying to break people's legs. I don't need him in there. He's going to get red carded.
Yep.
Lisandro Martinez is probably another one. I'm not exactly sure if I would take him over anyone at City right now, but I do know that I like him. I think he's playing very well.
I would take him over John Stones.
Yeah.
I think I would take him over John Stones.
But then you look, Grealish, Foden, both better than what they have. People crap on Grealish. I think that's completely unfair to Grealish. Everyone thought he was going to go there and have 30 assists and 15 goals. And that was never going to happen.
No.
And I honestly think that right now, even with all the money they paid, City is maybe not a better team than they were before they signed him, but it's not his fault. They've lost other players. I think City is a better team for signing him than if they had not.
Yeah.
Phil Foden, I think he's slightly overrated, but he's still a fantastic player. And Anthony right now is busting. He came in so hot and was scoring some good goals, but right now he's not looking that great.
Mm.
Uh,
Like, if
Kevin
we're
De
going right
Bruyne
now,
over
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Gundogan over pretty much anybody. Calvin Phillips is not even starting for this Man City team. I mean, he is in the FA Cup and the EFL Cup, but
Would
he's
you
not even.
find a way to fit in Bruno Fernandes?
No, see, now this is the other problem with starting 11s because starting 11s assume you're playing like a 4-3-3.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't think I do.
Yeah.
He's a great player.
Yes, he is.
We're not trying to crap on Man United. Man United
Oh,
right
no.
now is a great team with a fantastic coach.
I really think.
And it bothers me to say that. So perfect example. I'm a big Bruins fan. You can see the Bergeron jersey just off over here. The Canadians are our team they're our rivals. There's no way around it. Canadians and Bruins hate each other like oil and water. But more recently, whenever we play any team from Florida, really, whether it's the Panthers or the Lightning, like we always seem to lose. Like that's how I feel about Arsenal and Man United. Like, yeah, it's not a derby, but like even today, Arsenal have lost one Premier League match all season, and it was at Old Trafford. Like that, it kills me to say that Man United is this good, but right now Man United is this good. And seriously, Casemiro and maybe Lissandro Martinez are the only people that actually get into a combined 11 with these guys.
Yeah.
That's how good Man City is.
I'm okay with that.
It's insane. Fernandez is definitely on the bench. I will give you that. Fernandez
He's the
makes
first guy off the bench.
Very likely. If I need a spark, absolutely. Yep. If I need someone to roll on the ground 37 times, I know
or
I got my guy.
Sick PK.
I got my guy, but seriously, City plus one Casemiro. That's it. He's the only one that makes it slightly better.
What final score do you have here?
4-2.
I'm thinking 3-2 City.
Oh yeah, sorry. City goes without saying for me.
I figured.
4-2. I think Holland probably gets a brace. And KDB probably scores a crazy free kick, and then who knows where the third one comes from? But I mean the fourth one, but it's gonna come. They're scoring a lot. I would love. I mean, right now, I don't know. I guess I want a draw. I would love a draw.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A draw or a United win. As much as that hurts to say, God, that hurts to say. It's like rooting for Chelsea the other day. But I don't see it happening. No. All right. North London Derby. I touched on this in the Way West stand. I'm excited about it, but I want to hear your opinions. Everyone's going to hear my opinions in the Way West stand. I want to hear your opinions. First question. How comfortable do you think Arsenal is coming into this one?
They should feel very comfortable. In your notes, you said they will have ESR back, Emile Smith-Rowe. That's just added depth, man. I mean, come on. How after pundits, after commentators are bashing you for not having enough depth, to be able to have somebody come off the bench and be quality. So that's a huge boost.
Yep. I agree with you. The word you're looking for, and I said this in the Way West stand, one of Arson's favorite things to say, like a new signing. That's really what it feels like, especially because he's coming in the January window. But it's like a new signing. He's that depth guy that we need in the midfield.
You know who's been like a new signing? Striker.
Oh, Eddie. Yeah, Eddie. Absolutely. He's bulked up so much.
I saw a crazy stat where it said the 26 games that he started, he scored in 19 of them or something like that.
He's five goals in his last 5.
Bonkers.
You know, you and I talked about this the other day. Everyone's talking about, if Arsenal's losing one guy away. That's true in certain parts of the field, I think. Especially our midfield, especially our deep lying midfield.
Yeah.
We are one Xhaka and or especially Thomas Partey injury away from being a very different team.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from our fullbacks, I think Eddie's the best like for like. He is not Gabriel Jesus. And Gabriel Jesus starts over him every day and twice on Sunday.
Absolutely.
But for Jesus to be the hole we need to plug and having Eddie plug the hole right now, I mean, he's on a better scoring streak than Jesus was when he was, when he was playing. Now, Jesus does a lot of other things defensively, but Eddie looks great.
Well, this is only a bonus because now you won't need to shop for a striker in the summer. Now you'll be able to be like, okay, let me go find somebody in the Netherlands, or let me go find somebody in the lower leagues and who's been playing well and youthful, and stash them in your U teams and groom them.
No, and this is one of those. It's almost kind of hard because will Eddie want to stay? He's been an Arsenal guy for a very long time. I'm pretty sure he's a Hale End graduate. Will he want to stay and support Jesus? And then also, it would almost be better if we didn't have anyone. And I don't actually think this, but this is the way some people think. It would almost be better if we didn't have anyone, because then we can go get that striker. But now if we go get a striker, is he better than Eddie? And if he's better than Eddie, is he worse than Jesus? Because that's not this big of a gap.
No, not anymore. Not after.
So now you got to find someone who fits into this gap. And is Eddie okay with that? But no, okay, so now we're going to lose Eddie. Like if Eddie goes down right now, I think we recall Balogun. I don't think we go get anyone else, who, by the way, is doing very well in Liga. And so is Nuno Tavares. Nuno Tavares is also doing very well in Liga. So we have depth, but right now they're kind of on loan.
Yeah.
Which, worked out for Saliba. So hopefully we won't have to spend all this money going into the next window, but they're still out on loan right now, and we don't want to call them back.
Yep.
Also, a little bit of a Jesus injury update. I do not know what this means. He's being very cryptic on his Instagram, but his Instagram had him on a stationary bike, and it said 5 weeks.
Take it for what it is. 5 weeks. He'll be there.
That end of February is better than some of the reports I was hearing. So
yeah,
confident about that. Arsenal revenge match. That horrible 3-0 loss in May that knocked us out of the top 4. Spurs got to take it. We haven't won at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yet. Cautiously optimistic for this one.
I feel Arsenal's going to carry some swagger, and I know this is a derby. And I mean, any derby that typically gets played is close match. In most cases, it ends up being a draw. Man, I think Arsenal is just going to smash them. I really think it's going to be a 3-0. I was trying to pick, where Tottenham would actually succeed and how they would succeed. And they only really succeed as if Kane scores 3. I just don't see, they still have Kulusevski, who's out. They still have Betancourt, who was a maybe. Richarlison's a maybe. And Fatmob says a few days, which is whatever. I don't really understand what a few days means, but whether he plays or comes off the bench. They're just Dyer is meh.
So one point I want to make before we jump into my next question, which is a lead on what you have now. Home team has won the last 6, and there hasn't been a draw in the last 7.
Okay.
Someone usually wins the North London derby.
Well, then I am going to say it's a draw.
Don't do that to me. I like the 3-0 better.
I know, but
right,
I don't
so
really.
You're looking at both these teams. Combined 11. I'm gonna stay out of this for the most part because there's no way bias isn't coming in.
That's not going to lay into this at all.
But combined 11 between these two teams. What you got?
Okay. So I'm actually going to start Lloris in goal.
I don't know what your problem with Aaron Ramsdale is, but
I don't know, man. Do you think with the Aaron thing, I would actually be rooting for him? I just don't know.
I mean, Lloris is a he's a top caliber goalie.
Yeah.
He's won a World Cup. He's won. I mean, he hasn't actually won that much because he's been on Spurs, the poor guy. But he won a lot and a lot of different things. I have no problem with Lloris. I just find it funny that if Aaron Ramsdale was the last guy to pull you up from a cliff, you'd let go. And I don't know why that is.
I
But
can't
anyway,
take you.
moving on from goal.
We're doing 4-4-3, correct? I'm just gonna clarify this now.
See, I put it in your head earlier.
Gosh, dang.
4-3-3, not 4-4-3. Sorry.
Oopsies.
I know. I did it last time, and now it's in our heads. It's going to become the joke. We're going to be the podcasters who don't understand formations. Here we are. Anyway, yeah, 4-3-3.
Okay, so I'm gonna say I'm starting Ben White. I'm going Saliba, and then Christian Romero. And see, this is the problem. They run a 3-5 something. So they as in Tottenham. So they'll have Peristich.
You're going to do Perisic as a wingback over both Kieran Tierney and
I did not
Zinchenko.
say that. I said that they run that. I'm trying to stick.
You said I'm going Perisic.
Huh?
Zinchenko's been one of the best wingbacks in the entire league. So's Tierney. I think Perisic is a very good player, don't get me wrong, but
I don't know where you're getting this information from.
I think
I did not say that I'm starting.
You said I'm going Perisic. Those are your words. That might not have been what you meant.
The problem is that Tottenham runs a 3-5-2.
So I'm going Perisic.
No.
That's what you said.
I said Perisic is out there. I didn't.
It's on the recording.
No, you're putting words in my mouth. Get out of here.
It's on the recording. One of us is going to have egg in our face, but anyway.
I don't know. I'm going Peristich. Okay, so then we're going to build out from there.
I think Perisic is a great player. I really do. I'd start Zinchenko over almost anybody. We are a completely different team with him.
I've liked Zinchenko when he was at City. I just like Peristich a little bit more. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the have an opinion. So then in the midfield, I'm probably rolling with Xhaka in the middle. Then let's see. Man, their midfield does not impress me. Tottenham. Party and Odegaard. I mean, really, Tottenham's midfield does not impress me.
I think that's the biggest problem with Tottenham this year. I understand how Conte wants them to play, but they don't have anyone who wins the ball back and gets on the break. Sending you the link for the last Tottenham Hotspur North London derby.
Yeah.
Just so that you can see both teams next to each other.
Yeah. Then up top in my three, I'll probably go Saka. Kane.
Don't be sorry about that.
Clutch.
And there's nothing wrong with picking Kane. He always finds a way to score.
I guess if I'm going based off of just this year, it's Martinelli. In prior years, it's Son.
I was going to say right now, so a little bit of bias. Right now, the way both teams like to play, I think Ramsdale does a better job playing out the back. I think Lloris is a very, very good goalie, and I have no problem with him starting.
Yeah.
There is a argument to be made for Dyer over Big Gabby, but I think for the most part, Arsenal's defense this year has been stellar, and I wouldn't want to change it.
Yeah.
I think that the midfield is not even a competition. Xhaka and Partey have played so good in their roles, and Odegaard is the only reason why Odegaard doesn't get talked about anymore is because he's the second best player from Norway. and the best player is literally a robot. And Kevin De Bruyne is just that good.
Yeah.
Right? There's a argument to be made that Odegaard's the second best 10 in the league. I don't know if I would make that argument, but he's very good. When you get up top, I'd pick Kane too. Especially if we're making a North London derby team, Kane always scores. He will get a penalty and score. It is the law of the universe, which is the only reason why you will never hear me say 3-0.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be another 3-1, but he has to have his penalty. We have to score. If we want to get a point, we can't not score. We're not holding them scoreless. Kane will get a goal. He always gets a goal in the North London derby. I also agree with you. Any other year, I'd take Son.
Yep.
But not this year. Martinelli's been so good.
Man, I think his cheek's having a lot of issues.
And then people are talking about Saka being the best English player currently. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I know he's fantastic.
How can you not agree with that?
And I would take him over whoever they put on the right side. Unless it's a World Cup match, then I want Richarlison, because Richarlison always shows up for Brazil.
It's true.
If Tottenham has green away jerseys next year, look out.
Yellow ones. Third kits.
Yellow. Yeah. Third kits are yellow and green. Watch out. No, I think that's it. I think right now, and this is different, especially from past years, I think right now, 2 Spurs players get in.
Yep.
Right? I mean, honestly, my heart says only Kane. And I would take Kane, not over even just Eddie. I would take Kane over Jesus. Kane is just that good.
Yeah.
I love Jesus. I'm glad we have him and not Kane, but I'm not going to hate on him. He's fantastic. All right, we are going a little bit long.
I know. I want to just touch on this real quick. I do think that Tottenham do have a good core coming through for their midfield. I just don't think right now this is the time for them. They have Pepe Sarr, who they picked up. I can't remember, some team in France. They've got Yves Bissouma. If Kulusevski wasn't injured, I think that's a big game changer.
Kulusevski's definitely a big game changer. I never want anyone to be injured, but when I saw he was probably out, that just makes you feel a little bit better about your team's chances.
Definitely the comfort level changes.
Yep. And then final match that we're going to talk on real quick. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to actually have that much to talk about with transfers. We'll go over some of the big names really quickly.
It's fine.
Wolves West Ham.
Yep.
Much like Wolves Everton, this is a true 6-pointer, but not the fun kind where you're trying to see who's going to win the league, but the sad kind where the loser probably gets relegated.
It's possible. I mean, this is where we're sitting with, if Wolves win, they leapfrog West Ham, and West Ham are in the relegation zone. So I think that'll be a fun match to watch. It's on Peacock, so people who are going to be looking for it, that's where it'll be.
I think this Wolves match is very similar to what I said last time about the Everton match.
Yes.
Maybe not last time I said, but the Everton match.
No, you learn a lot. I remember it.
And Wolves won that Everton match. Wolves then continued 1-0 loss to Manchester United.
Yep.
1-1 draw to Villa.
Yep.
In the FA Cup, so take that for what you will. But in the FA Cup, 2-2 draw going to a replay with Liverpool.
Yep.
And then 1-1 draw in the EFL quarters to Forest. They ended up losing on pens. Again, that's probably good for them. The less tournaments, the better.
Yeah.
I think Wolves is on the up. I do not think Wolves is going to finish any higher than 15th, but I don't think they're going to finish any lower than 17th. And quite frankly, if Wolves end up in 13th, I'm not going to be that surprised because there's not a lot of very good teams above them. I could see Wolves finishing higher than Bournemouth and Forest and Leeds and maybe even Crystal Palace. I don't expect it, but I could see it. I expect them to finish higher than Everton and West Ham.
I see them sitting maybe, man, I don't know. I've been on the train of them getting relegated. If they do, it's going to be that skin of the teeth, stay up kind of deal. Which is
Again,
fine, because then you stay up and make Premier League money. So
the only reason why I think they won't is just how bad the other teams are. I do not think Wolves is this wonder team that everyone's sleeping on is going to go on an unbeaten run of 20 games. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Most of my Wolves hype is because I think that they have a very good coach and a decent core.
It's fair.
And they are surrounded by very bad teams.
I can respect that thought.
That's the only reason why. Moving on to transfers real quick. We touched on the Chelsea ones. No one else has really done all that much. Apart from Man United got Wu. I hate it. I think he's very good. I think it plugs the hole that they have.
Yeah.
Do not like that they're being run well. And also Jack Butland on loan as a backup to a very struggling De Gea. I think those are two very good pieces of business.
I think Butland's just because they lost Dubravka.
I mean, yes, obviously Butland is not going to be their starting goalkeeper, but when he's now the backup, that makes me feel a lot better than
fair enough.
Heaton. Tom Heaton, 36 years old.
Don't you say bad things about him. He played very well for Villa.
Oh, you have the weirdest relationship with goalkeepers.
He played very well until he tore his ACL.
Final question.
Hit me.
Arsenal's out of the João Felix race. Probably a good thing, in all honesty.
11 million, man.
Seemingly out of the Mudryk saga. I don't understand. I get one thing saying we're a mile away. I get another thing saying that we've agreed on personal terms and have only the fine paperwork to do with Shakhtar. I don't know. I know I don't want him for 70 million. I'll tell you that.
No.
With us out of the Felix race and seemingly out of the Mudryk race, if anyone was actually in the race, where do you think Arsenal goes from here?
I think they should go after a midfielder.
I agree, but
I really think they should go after a midfielder. If nothing else, depth or somebody who's – they got to get somebody who's better than Lokonga, man. It's so bad.
Lokonga's a big oof. Lokonga is a big oof.
Whether they keep it in the league or if they go out.
Again, it's hard because you got to find someone who is young and up and coming that's not going to cost a fortune, that's going to be okay playing behind Xhaka and Partey.
Behind Xhaka and who?
Partey. Because that's where we need help in the midfield. We need help in the low-lying central midfield, the number 6s. And I don't know. I right off the top of my head, I don't know. I mean, right now, the answer to all of our problems is Declan Rice, except for he would be knocking Xhaka out and cost 100 million pounds. So we're not doing that. So someone like a Douglas Luiz, who we tried to get before the transfer window closed, although that was half-hearted. And then I think he signed an extension anyway with Villa. Tielemans, who we're probably working on trying to get a free, but again, where does he play?
You guys wouldn't be able to work a free until the last month.
So, that's, I mean, even it doesn't matter when we can work it. It's not going to help us for the next 6 months. And that's where we're at right now, where it's not like, oh man, we have one underperforming player. If we just replace him, it's fine. Mm-hmm. Our starting 11 right now, when they're playing their best, beats pretty much every other starting 11. We've proved that. We've lost once in 17 matches.
Right.
So who do you go get for depth that's okay playing behind someone? Because we're not going to go get Enzo Fernandez. Quite frankly, where would João Felix have played? The reports where he liked the Chelsea project, I think he likes that he gets to play in London for 6 months. Because who does Felix start over?
For
Eddie?
Arsenal? Yeah.
Eddie? Maybe, except for Eddie's doing exactly what we want him to do. And Martinelli and Saka look like world beaters. So where would he have played? Mudryk was perfect because Mudryk wanted to come. He wanted to be an Arsenal player anyway, except for, Shakhtar wants either 100 million pounds an hour or nothing later. And They're going to get nothing later. I don't know what they're expecting.
They're losing so much money in this if they decide to hang on to him. The winter window is when you sell. Big money. And they're just botching this so hard.
Yep. Either he is not as big of an Arsenal fan as we all think he is, which I kind of doubt because of he's liking every single meme about him being imprisoned in Shakhtar and wanting to go to Arsenal. Now, again, he could just be him funny. I don't understand Gen Z humor, but transfer sagas are a little bit different now. I don't know who we go get apart from a guy like him. And because it's January and you have teams that don't want to lose their good players, and that's the problem with Shakhtar. Shakhtar wants Champions League money, and Shakhtar gets the easier road to Champions League because of the league that they're in. I'm not saying anything's easy for Shakhtar, guys. I understand they're not playing at home. A ton of crap's going on with them, but maybe they're not losing money because that's what he's worth. If he keeps them in the Champions League, how much money does he net them versus selling them now?
Yeah, it's fair enough. That's a thought.
So hopefully Edu has someone in mind that's the perfect kind of depth piece. Reece Nelson looked great apart from A, he was a winger, which was not necessarily where I think our depth problem is.
No.
And B, he's now injured again. So I don't know. Ben White's showing legs. Maybe he could be a 6. Start Tomiyasu on the right side, Ben White in the 6.
Well, that would be a godsend, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, who knows? All right, we are at an hour and 7 minutes roughly right now, so I think we got to call it there.
I think that's a fair idea for these folks.
Big derbies, big transfers. I bet there's going to be a ton of transfer news coming up.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Villa Leeds 3 p.m. on Friday. Make sure you guys are looking out for it. If you are still listening, thank you very much for listening. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the notification bell. I guess that helps YouTube. I don't know. They always say that. If you're not listening to us on YouTube, just please subscribe to whatever you're listening to. This podcast can be found anywhere that Anchor puts it out. I have finally filled out the form for every single one.
Hell yeah. Also, please rate us. We love ratings.
Yeah, ratings good. If you're on Spotify, we have questions in there. Sometimes we have polls. There's polls on YouTube. Let us know how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on TikTok. You can find me on Wicked Good Sports and the Way West Stand, and you can find Aaron on Wicked Good Sports on the Villa. I think that's it. I think we've covered all of it. I think
we've wrapped it all up in a nice little bow.
You coming on Sunday?
Doubtful.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great videos. Great videos.
I bet it will be.
And I'm gonna be way too busy to do the recording. So.
You tell me you can't have a mug in hand and the camera going?
Oh, I absolutely can, but the camera's going to be pointed at the ground half the time because I'm not going to be paying attention to what's on the camera. All right, guys. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yep.
So to everyone, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.